Hey guys, Travis Daggett with Cornerstone Properties over at Keller Williams, talking today with Chris Bettis at Fluent Mortgage. And we're going to talk about if maybe you've never bought a property for investment purposes before, or maybe you own a few, or you want to get bigger and you just don't know what to do next. There are a lot of products out there. It can be confusing, can be a little scary, stressful, frustrating. So I want to ask Chris, first of all, how to either get started or how to go to the next level and really grow your business in investment world.
Nice. Well, humbly, I would say one of the best tools right now, and it's such a competitive market, is the use of private money, as an example. So, like you mentioned, leveling up. If your goal is not to just do 2 this year or 3 or 4 this year and you got stuck on that collateral cap, to be able to do 12, 20, 30. Literally, I took someone who's done 100 transactions in 1 year alone through the use of leverage and perfect structure. It's an extremely competitive market. I mean, you know better than anybody as a realtor how you could put it in a more competitive offer in a competitive market. Maybe think private money again. Speed. Sometimes you just got to get to the finish line a lot quicker, or qualify government, you qualify conforming, and then all of a sudden there's a hiccup the last second and you have to close that transaction in 3 days, 4 days. Again, possibly private money. And then lastly, it's almost as strong as cash, and depending on the lender, it can be stronger than cash. You should command a lower price point as well. So between return on investment, leverage, closing more transactions, or just getting that weird one done, that should be a tool in your toolbox for every single person, absolutely.
Yeah, well, I like that. Better than cash, or and also being able to command a lower price point. So, how could private money be even better than cash, and how could it help you get properties at a better discount than you would otherwise?
Yeah, great question. So the reason why I say better than cash, depending on the private lender and the relationship, in times I've had pre-approval letters that literally said, I've closed multiple transactions with the borrower. We're done with the appraisal, the valuation on the property. Literally, preliminary title report equals closed. And so, in essence, the same as cash. However, usually the cash transaction, there's something saying, hey, provide me with a letter within 3 days that says you've got funds, some sort of bank account, right?
Yep.
With mine, it's an institution. People know who we are, right? I'm going to call the listing agent personally and say, this is real. This is who I am. I heard of you. This is legitimate. So, not only is they're only just a preliminary title report to get to closing, but you have a known entity in this market. It's going to be stronger than a bank from who knows where and some screen print 3 days later. It's going to come with that offer. So you're going to get more offers accepted that way. Mm-hmm. Conversely, in terms of lowering down the price point, I mean, if it's your listing, sometimes highest isn't best. Right? It's the one that's going to get to the closing. It's the one that meets their timeline or whatever their hot button is. So with private money, you may have 3 offers, say at 250, 255, 260, conforming, but all of a sudden you've got a private money one that says, we're past the appraisal, I like the borrower, let's close this thing in 7 days, 245. Mm-hmm. That might be your best offer for your client. And again, it could be $15,000, $30,000, $50,000 lower than that conforming offer.
Yep. Awesome. Private money and the differences, do you want to talk? I was interested in what you're saying about being able to take somebody from a few transactions in a year to 100.
Yeah.
How can you do that?
Yeah, well, the first keys off leverage is the most critical one. Typically with conforming money on investment property, you're putting 15, 20, 25% down. Well, with some private lenders, they lend off of value, not the acquisition price. So we know there are opportunities where you're saying, I just found you the most amazing home run. Or the bank didn't realize they had an additional lot attached to this. You're like, they thought it was a 1/4 acre and it's 5 acres plus that. Well, we know that transactions were so much more than acquisition or purchase price. With private money, a lot of times we'll take that into consideration and say, no, it's worth $400,000. You want to borrow 2? I can lend you all 2. And again, as a relationship develops, especially on flipping or investment properties, some private lenders will even lend all of acquisition or purchase price, plus the closing costs, plus all the improvements. So, if you get stuck at doing 1 or 2 at a time because of liquidity issues, you could potentially do 3, 4, 5, 10 at a time.
Yeah.
And where it becomes really cool is I have a guy who hired a second full-time crew. construction crew, and now he's pitting the crews against each other, and they're very competitive, right? Construction contractors, you guys are. So then it's who can get it done the fastest, who can get it done the best, who, you know what I mean?
Right.
It becomes a competition. So we're seeing return on investment for that owner go way up exponentially just because his turn times are quicker.
Yep. Awesome. Well, thanks, guys. Travis Daggett, Cornerstone Properties at Keller Williams, Chris Bettis at Fluent Mortgage. Any questions? Would love to hear your thoughts, too, and we can talk about your questions and ideas in the future. Thanks.